You got it? Oh, go.
You ain't never seen that movie before.
No, it's okay.
I made it up. But what's up, everybody? It's Corey.
And Mignon.
And we're back for another episode of Tea
and Worship. Corey, I'm so thankful for all of our viewers, aren't you?
I am very thankful. We want to thank all of you for watching our show. We can't believe the response that y'all be giving us. It's overwhelming, but we love it. Absolutely. Please continue to watch. Tell a friend, tell everybody. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, you share, and tune into us every Friday at 8 p.m. And make sure you follow us on The Hope TV on Instagram.
Absolutely. We have some great music for you today, and we have some great tea. And to all of our new viewers, the Tea and Worship platform is for all of our artists to be able to come and where we share that good tea about them. And then the worship piece is where they are allowed to share that musical performance. And so I'm just excited today. What about you?
Exactly. I'm very excited. But if you know any Black-owned tea companies that we can highlight here on our show, we want to hear from you. So please get in those comments. Let us know some of those Black-owned tea companies because we want to drink some of that tea on our show. We want to highlight them here on Tea and Worship.
Okay. So can I share what's going on in my life? Mm-hmm. I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on in my life. I'm tired, Corey. I'm just tired. I'm tired. I love my kids, but I'm tired. My living room is now a stage. They literally turn my lights on and off. They move my furniture. I just want my living room back, Corey. But this tops it though. I'm in the kitchen all day long. I know I do about 3 or 4 meals a day. But then in the midnight hour of 3 a.m., little Gavin, the baby, he goes in my pantry and pulls out snacks at 3 in the morning. I'm laying in my bed and all I hear is whoosh, whoosh. I mean, he's literally dragging snacks across the floor. And I get up knowing I turned the TV off. He's sitting on the couch with his legs crossed, watching TV, eating chips. I mean, like he 90 years old. I mean, just sitting there in my snacks. So I literally have to lock my pantry door now. I'm tired. I mean, I really just want to just wheel them back in, if you know what I mean. But I love my babies. God knows I do. But it's hard for me to work, you know what I'm saying, from home with the kids always going, Mama, can I? Mama, can I? I'm way upstairs. Daddy in the kitchen. Mama, can I have some juice? Ain't your daddy in the kitchen?
They don't care.
Just give mommy 10 minutes.
Well,
Corey, can you help me?
Mignon, you can't reel them back in.
I want to reel them back
in.
They're
here now. But and I can relate to you on the fact that we do get busy with ministry and worship. But that kids part, you got 3 kids. You got 3 kids. That I can't relate to you on that. Sorry. I know somebody that can at least relate to you, at least on having a child and also being in ministries. One of the most respected voices in the gospel industry. She is a boutique owner. She is an author. She is one of the architects of background vocals, pretty much. And she's been in the music game for so long, and she's so respected.
She's really just an OG. I look up to her. I know it's been 15 plus years now. Our relationship is like no other. She's amazing. She's anointed. And I don't want to spend no more time talking about it. I just want to bring her in. So let's welcome my friend, the anointed Candy West. Whoop, whoop.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Candy.
Welcome.
Corey and Mignon.
Hey, how are you? We are so thankful that you decided to come, and we're honored to even have you here on our show, Candy.
Absolutely.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of Tea and Worship. I can't wait to get into it.
All right, we're going to get this good tea. So, Candy, now, we know, most of us know you from your time with God's Property and Kirk Franklin. I know that's an album that I personally wore out to the point where, if I could find that CD again, it probably doesn't work anymore because I listened to it so much and still remember all of those songs to this day. But everybody may not know where your musical journey actually began. So where did it actually begin?
Well, my musical journey began in my grandfather's church at the age of 3, y'all. My mom noticed me singing and humming, and she would, give me a little note and I would give it back to her, and she would sing something back to me and I'd sing it back to her. And she told my father, this baby is going to sing. So what they did that following Sunday, they put a microphone in my hand. They stood me on one of those milk carton crates, and put a microphone in my hand. And I've had a microphone in my hand ever since the age of 3. So that's where my journey began, in my grandfather's church under my mom.
Wow, that's amazing. It's great that you brought your mom up, because when I found out who your mother was, I've always wondered what it was like to be the mother of Tommy Young. I mean, the daughter of Tommy Young West.
Ooh, she was almost like a little Maddie Mouse Jr. She made us sing. We have to learn all parts. That's why my sister and I, Peaches, we're able to get any kind of work because we could sing soprano, alto, tenor. We were trained in the household to be able to sing lead, sing background. Sometimes we were the choir at church. So it was excellent training. I call my mom my first vocal coach, because she's the one. When I was a kid, I had a little lamb in my voice. Like, it was like and she was like, she rebuked it, y'all. I'm serious. She was like, oh no, the devil is a lie. You will not have this shake in your voice. And so, she really taught me. She was my first vocal coach. And she really taught me how to, own my voice and pace myself and embrace myself as well. So I really have to attribute my first growth and even walking into my gift to my mom.
That's funny.
That little lamb.
That little lamb.
Listen, little lamb. A lot of people still have that even after they grow up. So, at least you grew out of that, the lamb chops. Now, like I said before, you worked with the amazing Kirk Franklin. So after that experience with God's Property, where did your career go to after that?
So after God's Property, I began to sing with Kirk full time. So I started singing with him in the family. And from there, he created New Nation. Out of New Nation, a group called One and C was birthed out of that. So I just began my journey. One thing just kind of led to another. And then around 2001, after we did the Rebirth of Kirk Franklin album, shortly after that, I moved to Los Angeles and I started doing background for everybody. I toured with Mary. I worked with Patti LaBelle. And the list goes on and on and on. So it started with God's Property. And then once I connected with Kirk, it's like one relationship and opportunity begat another.
Wow, that's simply amazing. I know, like, for me, when I met you personally, you were working with Myron Butler. So, like, that relationship, like, what are things that you learned working with him that you now carry with you in your career now?
First of all, working with Myron, he is my brother for real. We've been through some highs, some serious lows, and we've had some amazing victories together. And I've learned so much from him, from business acumen to how to, really embrace who you are. Myron's music is a little bit different. I feel like he's one of the most underrated music producers and songwriters and artists in gospel music, but he still owned who he is, and he never allowed labels wanting to put him in a box to put him in a box. He would say, no, this is my style, this is my music. I'm not going to try to fit a mold. And I love that about him, and that he's taught me to really embrace my voice. And again, just how he's handled himself in business. Even with Kirk, I learned so much from him from a business standpoint. I always say that he's one of my favorite artists that I've ever worked with, because he takes care of his people. We always have the best accommodations. We get paid on time. And he just really looks out, for the people that work for him. So just business things that most artists don't teach you or maybe don't have. These are things that I was able to really gain from working with Myron and Kirk.
Wow, that's awesome. Like, I know in your journey, we've definitely been able to experience your musical growth. And then I also noticed that you've stepped out into some other lanes. So I want to talk about your book, Work the Wait. Like, what's the story behind that title?
Absolutely. I started writing that book in 2017, and Work the wait is the subtopic is being productive while waiting on the promises of God. Because the truth is, waiting seasons are not inactive seasons. While you're waiting is actually your time to prepare. How are you going to be ready for what you ask God for if you didn't take time to prepare for it? Are you ready for what you're asking for? So work the wait is really about preparing for what you're asking God for, being productive, not just sitting on the sidelines, kicking your feet in the bleachers and waiting on something to happen. But you say, you know what, while I'm waiting, I'm going to be preparing. I'm going to work on my credit. I'm going to work on my heart. I'm going to work on my mindset. What is it that you can do while you're waiting on something to come to pass, or a manifestation of a prayer or a petition that you have before God? So that's what Work the Wait is about. And I legit have to live the book, y'all. I had to live it. God was like, okay, this is real cute. I love what you're doing here, but you're gonna be a living testimony of what you wrote in this book. And so I stand behind it. It's blessing so many people, and I'm really excited about even pushing it in this next season that I'm going into.
Wow, that's awesome. Now you said something, Candy, about your book, about preparation and how important that is. Just even in your waiting season, being prepared, and being that you have sung 4 years and done background vocals for numerous artists, and even yourself, being a lead vocalist yourself. How does Candy West prepare? What's your vocal regimen like?
Ooh, first thing I do, I take a lot of naps. I rest. Rest is so key for a vocalist. Resting your body, resting your mind, resting your voice. Stress and worry will take an effect on your body in ways that you wouldn't imagine. So one of the first things that I do, I schedule time for rest. I'm making sure that I'm drinking a lot of water. I drink a lot of water to hydrate. My body needs it, my voice needs it. And then when I know I have something big coming up, I really try to cut the grease, cut the fried foods, cut the bread, cut the cheese, the dairy, all of those things that will affect my vocals being, at tip-top shape and being at its most excellent stage. Those are some of the things that I do to prepare myself vocally. Vocal warm-ups and things like that I do as well when I'm getting to a venue or right before an event or a service. Those are things that also help me to be ready.
That's great. And those are all excellent, because I've definitely learned that rest, that water is so important. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that. I want to move into, hey girl, hey. I want to move into that. Clubhouse. Like, I've had a chance to be in the room, and there are no limits in that room. And I love every bit of it. Like, what motivated you to use that platform for that?
First of all, I have to shout out to my business manager, Lolita Pettigrew, because she actually, towards November especially, she was like, you need to get on Clubhouse. You need to get on Clubhouse. And I was like, I don't need another thing that I have to manage. Like, I don't need no other app that I have to try to be present on. And I'm already trying to manage social media like Instagram and Twitter. And now you're trying to tell me I need to be more present on Facebook, and now you're adding Clubhouse. I was really against it. And then I joined a couple of rooms. I was like, okay, it's not so bad. And so I was like, okay, I tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a room for ladies. People always tell me I have a call and anointing for women. And so let me create a space where women can, talk about things that affect them, and we could talk through our experiences and offer solutions, but in a very non-churchy, traditional way, where women that may not be church will feel like they have a voice. And so that really is the heart behind Hey Girl, Hey. It's really giving women a platform and an opportunity to share. We talk about all kinds of topics, but within those topics, we allow women to share their experiences, and we also offer solutions and things, tips and tools that they can do and use to help them be a better version of themselves. So I love what it's become. We now have an open public Facebook group, and I'm really excited. It's really becoming something that I didn't plan for it to become. I really legit just wanted to do it because I was kind of being pushed to do it. Now it's becoming something that is an extension of myself, and I'm enjoying the process.
That's awesome. I mean, especially the fact that you didn't even, expect it to take off the way it does. I know when I first heard about Clubhouse, I think Mignon is the first person who even mentioned it to me. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then she was just telling me she got on and people were, getting on there that she never would have expected to be able to talk to. So I think that's awesome that you even went out, to even do that in the first place. Now, we know that this past summer, there was all this civil unrest was brought to the forefront, for a lot of people. For some people who seemed to not see it, but had to see it, it was pretty much in their face with some of the events that happened throughout the summer during the pandemic. And then you wrote a wonderful song called Song of Hope that came out that was released this September. What really, motivated you, inspired you to write that song?
Everything you just said inspired me to write Song of Hope. The pandemic, people being forced to live within their space, like legit live within their space with their families. Some people were alone. Some people were isolated during this time. Some people, it really sparked a sense of hopelessness in a lot of people, because people weren't real. They had to really deal with their thoughts and deal with their lives and deal with maybe the discomfort of what they were able to just kind of, I go home and I leave and go to work. But then you're working from home, or some people lost their jobs. It was just so much that the pandemic exposed. And then on top of that, with the civil unrest, the cases like Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and so many more that were cases that just kept happening over and over again. Even the young, I can't think of his name, they got shot in Atlanta at the Wendy's, in the Wendy's parking lot. Just things that kept happening over and over. And Song of Hope was a song that I birthed in the summertime to really offer just a soundtrack of hope for people that feel that sense of hopelessness, but just to be reminded that God is aware of where you are. He knows what you need, and his hand is present. He is present. And we sometimes, it may not feel like he's there, but it requires for us to say, God, I just need to know you're there. I just need to feel you. I just need to sense you're there. And sometimes he'll send it through someone else. Sometimes he'll send it through a seed. Sometimes he'll send it through an encouraging word, just to remind you, I hear you and I know what you need, and I'm going to come through right in the nick of time.
That's awesome. And you said so many good things there. And I just want to take a moment to encourage our viewers that are listening to be specific about what it is that you need and want from God. Be very specific about it. If you need some peace, if you need hope, if you need strength, be specific about that, because he's listening. He's listening to your prayer. He's listening to your heart, and he's willing and he's able to do it and come through for you. So I just wanted to take that moment to encourage all of our viewers. But Candy, look, you are not only an amazing background vocalist and author, but now you are a worship leader. Like, what has been, and we know you're with All Nations, what is your experience like being at All Nations?
Well, I've been with All Nations about 3 years. I've been leading worship for about 11 years. And so it's been an amazing journey for me. God has blessed me to have some incredible opportunities. I was in Birmingham for 4 years, from 2010 to 2014. From about 2014 to 2017, I was at the Potter's House, which was my home church before I even went to Birmingham. And then from there, God just kind of began to move me along my journey that landed me at All Nations. And it's been an incredible journey for me, because it's such a space of freedom. Not many churches and places and spaces where you can flow in prophetic worship and you can flow in intercessory worship. Like, I have the opportunity to really take the limits off what I do as a worship leader. I'm not just stuck to a certain format. Now, we do have structure, but what I mean is, if after opening prayer and the song of the Lord is coming forth, I can sing the song of the Lord. I can utilize that time. I'm trusted by my leaders in such a way that I can create a song on the spot. So I love the freedom that I have with being at All Nations, and I love that it's a ministry that is fivefold oriented, and so they believe in the gifts that and the offices that Jesus gave to some to be apostles, some to be prophets, pastors, teachers, evangelists. And so our church really does believe in fivefold, and I love that, because I'm called to fivefold. And so to be in a place where I can be myself, be free to grow and develop, I absolutely love where I am.
I love it. And I mean, we've even seen you on Instagram, not just singing, but also preaching. And I mean, preaching the house down. And I was just like, okay, so there's no limits to what this woman can do. None at all. But being that you sang background vocals for a good period of time, and then, you started to be in the forefront as a lead vocalist, were there any reservations for you, even though I know your mom put the Matty Moss on you and made you kind of do all of those things? But was there any reservations for you stepping out front and not being, because it can be comfortable, I know, it can be very comfortable being back there, because y'all, you go ahead and handle all that. Me and y'all, you got it. Were there any reservations for you?
I would say yes. I believe that shifting from being a background singer and making a decision to say, I will only do this. I'm not touring with anybody anymore. I'm going to make a decision to go after my own. I'm not waiting on any more promises. I'm not waiting on any deals or fulfillments of words that were spoken and promises that were made over my life 10, 15 years ago. I'm going to take my life, my gift by the reins and say, all right, God, I'm going to trust you to provide. And I'll never forget 2015. I had just done a project with the group with Bishop T.D. Jakes called Grace, 5-girl group. And I'll never forget that following that same year, we had just recorded that album in March. And I was just like, okay, this is the last group I'm singing in. I ain't singing in no more groups, and I ain't doing this no more. And I'll never forget that following August, I was sitting in the balcony at the Potter's house, and the Lord told me, you're going to record an album this year, and you're going to do it. Mind you, it's August. And the Lord said, you're going to do it in November. I'm like, August? Excuse me? How? Like, I'm legit I'm in the balcony during church crying. Me and God are having to talk. So I'm pretty sure people are like, oh, she just overwhelmed. The service is high. Baby, I'm trying to figure out what God is talking about. But I'll never forget that. And I was just like, okay, God, like, if you're speaking this to me, then you already have the resources. I got to trust you. And when I tell you, I trusted the Lord from beginning to end, and he provided. My first live album, I did it by myself. I didn't have no production company helping me. I didn't have no management company helping me. It was legit me and God and the team that I assembled together and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I would love to have you guys on board to help execute this. And it was excellent. And the album came out the next year. 2 weeks after the Grace album was released, I released my first solo project, and I have been soaring ever since. And I'm so glad that I did it. I think I was more upset with myself that I didn't do it earlier, but I think God knew I would be more ready after I've been processed through a little bit more to be able to handle doing it on my own. So yeah, that's my story. That's my story on that. So it was difficult because I had to trust God. But I'm grateful that I learned to trust him on another level for myself, because as a background singer, as you said, Corey, sometimes I could just show up and sing. You're going to take care of the flights. You're going to take care of the cars. You're going to take care of the hotels. I don't know, what else is being handled that, you're taking care of all the finances, and all I got to do is show up, sing, be great, and get my check and go home. What? But when you're leading it, you have to handle all of the details. But God has always been so gracious to me that would never allow me to do it alone. He would always send people, no matter what season I've been in, no matter what he's required of me. He's always sent people to help me in the process.
Wow. So because you said all that, I have to ask you to share this. How important is it to have a discerning spirit? How important is it to have that relationship with God concerning your career, just concerning your life, period, but specifically concerning the next steps in your career, for the viewers that are in that place of I'm battling, I'm struggling, don't know which step to take next? Like, how important is it to have that relationship with God?
First of all, if you're going to do gospel if you're preaching the gospel, singing the gospel, teaching the gospel, you need to have a relationship for the one that you're communicating the gospel for and the gospel about. So I would say first it starts with a relationship. It starts with having that prayer life and having that discernment to be able to discern what opportunities for you, what doors are for you, and what doors are not. Because sometimes God will call you to a season of stillness, and you can find yourself being busy when he's saying be still. And so you have to really have a level of discernment and connection with God and such a sensitivity to what he's requiring of your life. Because the truth of the matter is that God doesn't have to just bless good ideas. He has to bless his ideas. And you can be as creative as you want to be, or I can do this, or I want to do that. And you want God's hand on it. So you also have to make sure that all of these amazing things that you're coming up with, God, is this for me? And is this for me in this season? Because I want it to be blessed. And so that relationship with God and that prayer life and communication with him and having an ear to hear, a heart to receive, and a will to do is so important.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, relationship is key. And I think a lot of times people think I could just jump into this and just sing. It's so much more than the fact that you could have a nice voice. Now we know you have a great voice, and we know that that you're so respected as far as musicians and artists go. But I want to know, what would Kandi West today tell Kandi West 20 years ago?
Woo! That's a fantastic question. What I would tell Kandi West 20 years ago, I would tell her, do not wait on anyone. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. God put you here for a reason. Your gift is valuable. Your gift is necessary. So do not turn your light down for the sake of making someone else look bigger or feel bigger or be better. Be yourself and embrace all that you are and go after it. If you want to do it, go after it. Believe God and go after it. If he called you to do it, believe God and go after it. He will provide. I would totally tell myself that 20 years ago.
We are so inspired by you. I mean, to watch you online, to watch you do what you do and be bold and confident in your anointing, it really does encourage those of us that are trying to get to that place, those of us that are trying to build our careers or even build our spiritual lives. It's just amazing to see you and to hear your story, to know that you didn't have any backing, to know that you did it all on your own. It's so encouraging and it gives us hope. And we're so, so, so excited about what has happened in your life, what is happening, and what God is going to continue to allow to happen in your life. We expect nothing but greatness and nothing more than blessings on top of blessings for you. So I'm so thankful to have you with us. I hate to end because it's been amazing. It's been such an amazing, I want to bring you back so we can have a part 2 so we can keep going because there's so much to Kandi West that I would love for the world to hear. And so we're just excited. So all of our viewers, thank you for tuning in. Y'all know where to find us on the Hope TV right here every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss it. Share, subscribe, and like for the next tea and for the next worship. What you got to say, Corey? Because I'm about to close it out.
You wrapping this thing up. Kandi, I want to also echo what Mignon said. Thank you so much for being here, man. We could not have asked for a better guest. You've been so awesome, and we really thank you for all that you've done. And we can't wait for what you have coming out next.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mignon. Absolutely. Thank you, Mignon, and thank you, Corey, for having me on Tea and Worship. It has been a pleasure being here on Hope TV with y'all. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to share and just give a part of my story and to encourage someone in some way. And if I could leave you guys with anything, I will leave you with this. Do not focus on the limitations, but rather focus on the possibilities. That's it. That's the post. Don't focus on the limitations. Focus on the possibilities.
Wow, that's gonna be I'm gonna write that like all over my house. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much, Candy. Thank you to the viewers. Make sure you tune in. As Mignon said, she wrapped it on up. But thank y'all for watching. Make sure you tune in. And we have a very special performance by the Candy West coming up next. Make sure you check it out. We'll see y'all next time. Thank you.